We're flying an international mission off the coast near Seattle.
Alright, this is Canada, 12 o'clock. We got to capture crossing the border here. 5-6 upstairs, planning 4,000.
We had a gaggle of DA-40s and had to contend with wildfire smoke obscuring visibility. And since we were so close to the CubCrafters home base,
I didn't need to do that, did I? Raise the tail.
I scammed a CarbonCub FX to fly on this trip. We're on Orcas Island taking part in a fantastic real-world flight training trip. If you haven't heard of these adventures, here's what you're missing. This is the second of the Finer Points of Flying adventure training trips that I've been on. We thoroughly covered the mountain flying trip in 2015.
This is the San Juan Island adventure, which is very similar to the mountain trips that we run, and the idea is that people can bring whatever airplane they normally fly to an environment that may be risky or may have some challenges, and we try to get people comfortable operating in that environment, and then also teach them how to contingency plan for the possibility that they might have an engine failure and have to land in the water. It's classic Finer Points. It's an adventure with a lot of contingency planning and safety as a feature.
I'm Howard Donner. I'm one of the founders of TFP Adventure Training. I bring a long background of search and rescue and wilderness medicine and expedition medicine. Happen to also be a CFI and have spent most of my life in the outdoors teaching people how to be safe.
This course focused on flying single engine over water and also covered flight planning and execution of an international mission to fly into Canadian airspace. And beyond the usual TFP team, Jason recruited local CFIs to bring their experience to bear.
My name's Kyler Binion, and I'm a CFI at Galvin Flight Training in Seattle at Boeing Field. Here to participate in the trip as a flight instructor and more of just a guide to the kind of the local knowledge that I have of the area.
Well, my name is Thomas Oshino, and I'm a CFI. I fly with Galvin. I came out here to help out with Jason over there.
My name's Nicole. I'm a flight instructor. How I came here is Kyler asked me, he said, I've got this great adventure trip to do, and I said, sure, why not? Sounds like fun.
My first flight of the weekend was going to be to ferry the CarbonCub FX from Boeing Field in Seattle out to Orcas Island with Patrick Romano.
Hey, Foxtrot X-ray Boeing Tower, what was your aircraft type and direction of flight?
We're to the north and we're a Super Cub.
Cubby Foxtrot X-ray, the Cessna in the upwind is in left slow traffic. Left downwind departure approved to the north, runway 13 left clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, 13 left, 8 Foxtrot X-ray.
I was going to do my due diligence here. Nobody's on final. It was an honor to finally get to fly with Patrick from Backcountry Aviation. I've been following him for ages. But this weekend, we're going to be working on advanced STOL flying. I've already covered the basics in these airplanes. Check out the CubCrafters Hat Trick series if you missed that.
I didn't need to do that, did I? Raise the tail?
Oh, I like to raise the tail. I can't see if you don't.
Yeah, that was my chipmunk training. I got to get that tail up and then fly it off.
Oh, I prefer that method first.
Okay, cool. Foxtrot X-ray, affirmative. Left downwind departure is approved.
Thank you.
Okay, I got the Cessna. So we'll just plan to get on the left side of the city.
Yep.
Watch altitude.
Traffic.
Just a little bit. Yep. This thing is just so fast. It's already in the yellow and we're at what, 50% power?
Yeah, I pulled it back a fair bit. It's not turbulent, so we can go ahead and just let it rip.
Yeah, as long as you're watching your altitude.
Yeah, I really kind of want one of these.
Yeah, these things are amazing.
It actually did save the flight plan for before.
Oh, cool.
Alright, so we got a heavy coming above us. Should be an issue. Altitude's good. Tension pressures are good.
This is a pretty cool scene right here in and of itself.
Alright, so when we go over the water, it's kind of borderline IMC, only because you that's what you're looking at. So I'll just be scanning instruments.
Okay.
You can make sure I'm not doing anything stupid.
An unforeseen challenge for this weekend was that wildfire smoke was severely inhibiting visibility.
Once we're clear of the obstacles, I'll make a right turn on course.
Wow, look at that on your screen. Holy moly, that's technology.
That is sweet, yeah.
I'm gonna just look where he went. Okay.
Yep. He's making a turn though, actually, going back that way.
These things are pretty sweet, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, it's everything you want, really. If I guess I'll kind of weave my way with gliding distance along this direct course.
I've only done one trip where I couldn't see land in a single engine, and it wasn't the most comfortable thing I've ever done. The nice thing here is there's a lot of boats.
Yeah, so they'll see you.
Yeah. What's the name of the place we're going? Orcas?
Yes, sir.
Departures, Super Cub 18 Foxtrot X-rays at 1,500, and we'd like to request flight following to Orcas Island.
Super Cub 8 Foxtrot X-ray squawk 3510.
3510, we're 2 miles north of Ferry Dock, by the way.
I was going to cut the corner and just kind of head that way.
Sure.
Super Cub 8 Foxtrot X-ray traffic 12 o'clock, 4 miles southbound, indicating 2,400 appears level.
We'll be looking for that traffic. Thank you, Foxtrot X-ray. We'll throw up all of our lights. All three of them, up. Yep, there you go.
American 2691, settle approach, expect runway 16 right.
I'm not going to call traffic in sight, that way if that's not him.
United 438, traffic 11 o'clock, 6 miles northeastbound, 5,000 for 9,000 as an Airbus.
Normally I wouldn't fly with flight following, just because
November 8, whiskey contact.
we've got so much technology on us if something were to happen, but being over the water, it's one of those little things that you might regret if you weren't.
Flying single engine over water is going to be a big focus of this weekend's course. We'll be covering planning and preparation for safe overwater flying.
We can either snake through the water or we go up to the north and down. It just matters not just about how we do it. Okay. Whatever looks best for your comfort.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind flying, cubbing in there, like.
Yeah, kind of creeping in there. I think that'd be fun.
So do you want to go in like rock stars on that side of the hill, or?
It's totally up to you. It does not matter to me.
Yeah, I feel like that's the way to do it in this airplane. I bet the diamonds are all going to go wide. And I'll fly a Cub pattern.
Island traffic,
Yeah, whatever.
500 feet, next point southbound.
I'll talk you through now what I'm going to do, and you can tell me if you disagree with anything.
Alright.
I'll get myself slowed down and set up on downwind, and I'll start adding first notch flaps on base, turn final full flaps, and we'll do like a three-pointer and see how short we can land it without being cocky.
Sounds good. Just no brakes. So you're comfortable.
I'm not going to touch brakes. Yeah.
I'm always shocked at when I do my seminars, we'll talk about it. We're not going to use brakes because, they start feeling comfortable and it just never fails. The first time they get up and they're, and they come back down and you start hopping along the runway. It never fails.
Just north of Lake Airport.
Orcas traffic, red, blue and white Cub is on downwind for runway 16. We've got the landing traffic in sight.
Make sure we're clear. He's clear. Yeah.
Orcas traffic, blue and white Cub is on base to final runway 16.
It was pretty windy today, but that was no excuse for coming in with too much energy, which is what I did here. I flew this approach at about 60 miles per hour. When I did the STOL training with Patrick, we were working on flying approaches almost half that fast. So stay tuned for that one in the next episode.
Orcas traffic, 2 Papa Alpha, just joining the left downwind for runway 16, Orcas.
Traffic on downwind at eastbound, citation 3 Charlie Juliet. We're about your 4 o'clock and passing a high right down. Would you guys mind if we go first?
Go first. I got you inside 2 Papa Alpha.
What the hell, man?
Was
that too aggressive?
Just hold it back right here.
Was my flare too? I thought I had it. Is that my speed?
I think you had a shift in winds right there. You see how we got a headwind here?
Yeah.
We had a little tailwind there, and so you got a little boost from that wind.
Yeah. Okay, once it's here, that's cool. It's sexy to put us here.
Cool.
All right, shut down.
This airplane was definitely going to be the star of this course because most of the students flying hadn't had any tail wheel experience, so it was pretty cool to give everyone a chance to fly this thing. The course opened with some pretty cool lectures from Jason and Howard.
Just imagine you had some kind of engine issue. Now, a lot of these islands have fields and stuff like that, so potentially you could glide into a field. But out here on the islands, as the Galvin CFIs can testify, you don't always make the shore. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the contingency planning with flight plans. Everyone knows about VFR flight plans, right? Offered by flight service. And you know they're only $10,000 to file. Wait, no, that's not right. They're free. They're totally free, right? If you've taken the mountain course, you've heard this, but we have people in our area go down all the time and die because no one's looking for them. What I'd like you guys to do tomorrow on our big flying adventure is contact flight service via the radio in flight. Do it for any purpose. You can file a flight plan. You can ask them for updated weather at an airport if you want, but the main thing is get a hold of them in flight. I feel like people don't do it enough.
Jason's point is that if you practice enough, you might actually file a flight plan when you need one. Listen to these stats from Howard.
Average time to dispatch search and rescue, VFR, no flight plan, 16 hours. VFR with a flight plan, 4 hours. IFR, 1 hour.
Among the pilots getting their first shot at tailwheel flying was my buddy Steve-O.
I want to give a big thank you to CubCrafters for donating their CarbonCub FX.
So have you flown any tailwheel at all?
Patrick, I have not. I've only been a passenger, so to actually be at the controls of one, it's going to be a whole new thing for me.
Well, and it's pretty windy, so.
It was probably one of the highlights of my whole aviation career, getting to go up and fly that around today and actually try to land it with 25, 30 knot winds as the first time flying a tail dragger. So that was one of the highlights of this whole trip, was flying the CubCrafters FX.
Yeah, so check out Steve-O's channel for that. I'm only going to put a little teaser in. And yes, I'm drinking beer. It's the end of the day. Another great thing about these workshops is the food. They treat you right here. Jason always finds cool highlights from the local area to build into these trips. A great way to end a big flying day. The following morning, we had a mission planned to fly over Canada. So after a good breakfast, Jason rounded us up for a pre-flight briefing.
Okay, so this morning we're gonna launch and we're gonna go tour Canadian airspace. And what we've done is we've filed flight plans. So to be legal in Canada without touching the ground or the water, still need an active flight plan and a discrete transponder code for each aircraft that's crossing the border. Your CFI has filed a flight plan. When we take off, we'll activate it on the RCO here, 122.3, and then we'll get a hold of Whitby Approach, we'll get a discrete transponder code, and then we can cross the border. They'll hand us off to Victoria Terminal. Vancouver is just a very, very busy city. There's beautiful glacier lakes and all sorts of fun stuff to see up there. And this wind has been great for blowing the smoke out, so hopefully we'll see some beautiful stuff.
So despite making the flying a little more challenging, the strong winds had blown away the smoke, so at least the visibility was a lot better now.
So my name's Ian Wild and I'm a client on the trip, participant, so I've been enjoying the flying. It's been a wonderful, awesome experience.
For anybody that is kind of on that edge of even thinking about maybe, you come to this and you can't wait to go back. It's just the best, and everybody's been so amazing.
All right, power set. Gauges look good. And there's your abort speed. Boy, that wind will help. Yeah. We're gonna rotate where the Cub was rotating. Yeah, just pick right up. Woo, there she goes. Oh man, it's like a whole different environment today, visibility-wise. Look at that. Wow, it's beautiful. I know, right? That's what it's supposed to look like. Fantasy Island. Numbers adjusted, mixtures rich, instruments are checked, and alright, I'm gonna go to flight service. You guys are ready to all take off.
While the rest of the gang was flying the DA-40s into Canada,
dude, this is so slow. Good lord.
I did the short takeoff and landing training with Patrick.
Nothing about that felt right.
It felt so right to me.
That's going to be an entirely dedicated episode, so stay tuned for that one. But we had cameras riding along for the flight to Canada, so let's get back on board for that.
November 443 Delta Sierra at Seattle Radio.
Yes, sir. I'd like to activate a flight plan that we filed to cross into Canadian airspace this morning. And just a heads up, we're kind of a loose flight of 4, so behind me there's going to be 3 aircraft wanting to open an already filed flight plan as well.
November 443 Delta Sierra, roger that. Stand by just one moment, sir. I'll get you a squawk code.
Oh, excellent. Thanks. 443 Delta Sierra.
November 443 Delta Sierra, and just verify that camp pass has been notified.
There may be not, so tell me what that is. Who's camp pass?
443 Delta Sierra, camp pass is Canadian Customs, sir.
Oh yeah, so we're not landing in Canada today. We're coming on a tour, but we're not actually landing Canada.
443 Delta Sierra, roger that. Okay, stand by just one moment. I'll get your code.
Thank you very much.
But let's say you did want to actually land the aircraft. There's a few extra steps you'd have to take. Each aircraft would have to have a radio operator's license. That's correct, right, Thomas?
Yeah, station license.
A station license, right? The other is customs. And that's the reason that because we're not landing, customs doesn't care. So if we are landing, that's where you'd have to go on the EAPIS website, file that arrival, put your wheels down, and this is important, do not get out of the airplane. So somebody would come to the airplane and meet you, some customs agent, just like you drove through over a bridge or something like that.
Oh man, that's a good picture of Orcus right there.
Tango November 443 Delta Sierra, unless otherwise instructed by ATC, squawk 1245.
Roger that, 1245 for 443 Delta Sierra. We should probably contact Whidbey approach on this side of the border with this code before we cross over, is that correct?
IFR conditions don't appear to be present on the route. Also have the TFR over Abbott's for unique details on those locations.
Negative. No, we have that, and we've got a route provided by Canadian ATC that keeps us clear of that. Should we contact approach on this side of the border, and do you have a frequency for that?
November 3 Delta Sierra, you're looking for, which approach control are you looking for, sir?
Well, I kind of thought I'd want to talk to U.S. TRACON before crossing the border to just facilitate a clean handoff with this code.
November 3 Delta Sierra, roger that. Let me get you a frequency standby.
Roger that, thanks, 2 Delta Sierra.
Don't cross any border lines. Yeah. There it is, that big white line. Just don't cross that yet. Oh, is the Stratus on? It's on. Okay, good. So you can just try to, you know, watch our route that we pre-planned there.
4-3 Delta Sierra, what's your destination?
For 3 Delta Sierra, we're not landing Canada this morning, ma'am. We did talk with some Canadian ATC this morning, and we're looking at a tour that takes us up near Nanaimo, then crosses over up towards Squamish, and then comes back down real low altitude through the Vancouver Harbor area, and then wraps around east of Vancouver's airspace, but west of the TFR back to Orcas Island.
3 Delta Sierra, okay, check that, thanks.
All right, this is Canada, 12 o'clock, gentlemen. we got to capture crossing the border here. 56 Delta Sierra, planning 4,500.
Final points air to air. If anybody's listening, this is Jason. Just FYI, we're going to keep it at 2,500 up Vancouver Island here, and then just climb for the big crossing.
3 Delta Sierra, 443 Delta Sierra. You're going to climb to 4,700 as well, you're going to stay low level?
I think we're going to stay low level, man. It gets a little hazy up there, but we'll climb higher for the crossing, for the water crossing.
3 Delta Sierra, okay, not above 2,500 feet without permission. That'll be climbing into Class C airspace. You must remain 2,500 feet or below. I'm going to switch you to Victoria Tower here shortly, because you're going to be transiting their control area extension.
Okay, roger that. Thank you very much.
3 Delta Sierra, when you get west of Victoria Tower's control zone, and you want to climb above 2,500 feet, you can give us a call back, and I'm going to give you this frequency when you're ready to copy.
3 Delta Sierra is ready to copy.
On 120.8 when you're ready for above 2,500.
Okay, understand 120.8 when we're ready to go above 2,500.
443 Delta Sierra, contact Victoria Tower now, 119.1.
Oops, 119.1 now, 443 Delta Sierra.
I did my best to keep all the important nuggets of this flight, but it was a pretty long one and lots went on, so hopefully you're able to follow it okay, but obviously it's been cut down.
November 443 Delta Sierra, Victoria Tower, squawking in, altimeter 299.0, what are your intentions?
Okay, 299.0, we just idented. We're just transiting your airspace through on a tour of Canada this morning. We're not landing, and we'll be heading up toward Nanaimo.
November 443 Delta Sierra, Victoria Tower, identified, the altimeter 299.0, clear to westbound, heading 2,500, group now.
Okay, westbound 2,500, thank you, 443 Delta Sierra.
Okay, well, these are the Gulf Islands. That's what Canada calls them. Cool. We call them the San Juans, they call them the Gulf.
November Express 315, southbound San Juan.
And Nanaimo. Alright. And then once you get there, we're going to parallel the coast that way, and look at this, man, we are really getting up there into Canada. It's looking brilliant.
Yeah. This is it, huh?
That's Vancouver. Welcome to Canada. Been to Vancouver?
I haven't. Never been here.
It's cool. It's a cool town. They build things a little different in Canada. I don't know. It looks different.
And just like that, the Americans were invading Vancouver. So I hope you enjoyed this one. We got a lot of content on this trip, so more episodes are coming from this footage. Huge thanks to Patreon supporters and sponsors for helping us make this stuff. And please do visit flightshops.com for your chance to win stuff. Like tuition for this trip was one of the prizes we gave away. It changes each month. Currently it's a $1,000 training scholarship you can use for anywhere you want. So visit flightshops.com for that, and for our mailing list, and also for the back catalog of 100 plus episodes. And as always, keep your flight chops sharp.
Are you married, Steve?
Yeah, I don't wear a ring, but I'm married. Are you interested?
It seems like you've got a lot of free time that you're able to do all these videos and stuff.
I got a supportive wife, and I have an 8-year-old daughter, and I usually bring them on the trips as much as I can.